And I'm Heather Branch here with Mike, asking for his insight on ways to better prepare for your financial future. If you have questions, give us a call, 616-512-2127. You can also find us online anytime at michigansretirementcoach.com. Coming up this half hour, Warren Buffett's advice on your estate planning. He says you should write your will, then read it aloud to your children before you even sign it. There should be zero surprises after your death. And there are boomers across Michigan right now shuddering at the idea, because my parents are proud boomers. And I'm telling you, Mike, if they had $50 or $50 million, I would never know. It's just a generational thing.
Oh, it's none of your business. All right. You'll get what you get. You'll get what you get.
That's right. And you'll be grateful for it, if anything at all, because we owe you nothing. We raised you. We put you into this world.
I can take you out of it.
But I'm going to take you out of it.
I heard that a couple times.
But Warren Buffett has thoughts. So we'll talk about that. First off, let's talk about the work that you do. When did you, let me just ask you on a personal level, when was it that you decided you wanted to be a financial advisor, not just financial advisor, but a retirement planner? Because it's a very niche, it's not even a niche because there's so many people that need help planning. So, but it's a specific type of financial advising that you do. When did you get into this?
So I was in business development for a long time. And then I had a dear friend who was a mentor to me for years. He reached out and said, I think you should come over here and kind of, he used the nice phrasing, but basically do something that matters. Mm-hmm. And so he founded LifePlan back in 2007. And so he reached out to me. Yeah, Bruce. And he reached out to me and we had dinner. Mm-hmm. And as we went through, he was kind of talking about what he does and I was talking about what I do. And so that was back in 2012, I believe.
Okay.
And then from there, we quickly just developed a partnership and really it just took off. The business took off and our relationship was great. So he's the one who talked me into it. But even dating all the way back to in 7th grade, they had us take this thing called the plan test.
Yeah.
It was like, it's an acronym for something, but basically like based on your skills and your knowledge and things you enjoy, what type of career would you be good in? Okay. And mine came out to like accounting, financial services, or something in that, something in that space of like accounting, financial services. And so I've known all along that there's something here and there's always been an interest and a passion for it. And then when I went back, I got my bachelor's in business administration, but I always had a heart towards finance. So whether I was in business development or whatever, my mind was always in financial spaces.
Yeah. You got the call at a young age, it sounds like.
Yeah. And then from there, once Bruce reached out and then he said, help me build this thing. And that's what we started doing.
Got it. So here you are. That was when you said that?
Like 2012.
Okay. So here we are 13-ish years later.
Yeah.
If you know anything about LifePlan Financial Design, or maybe you knew Bruce at some point, Bruce passed away in 2023, 2022? 21. Okay. And so Mike, kind of baptism by fire in the way of suddenly becoming a CEO of a business, and talk about a learning curve that you've had to go through. But obviously you continue to enjoy it because here you are.
Yeah.
Carrying and honoring Bruce's legacy. Thinking about the work that you do and how apparently it's not quite the service that most people are getting, because this recent study of 240 financial advisors, it was a study done by LIMRA, they found that more than a third of this group that they surveyed anyway, more than a third of them had been in the business 11 years or more. Those people, these 11 years or more advisors, were less inclined to offer financial planning and wealth management, which, as you're hearing me say that, sounds completely backwards. Yes, that is completely backwards, Mike. You go to a financial advisor for a financial plan and 1 in 3 are not doing it. What's happening?
Well, they're not wanting to partner the planning with the actual wealth management decisions. Okay. So in the financial planning space, there's several different things that happen. If you look at like all of us, we have all these different areas that are tied to our finances, but they seem unrelated. We have our taxes that we have to deal with. We have our income. So I got to go to work. I got to earn income, or I'm retired. Now I got to come up with income. I have some investments that are invested and hopefully they earn me money and someday I'll use that. I have insurances that I have to have on my home, on my life, on my car, on different things. And we have all these different elements that are all seemingly unrelated.
Mm-hmm.
And what a third of the financial space does is say, I just want to stay on my one little lane. And there's a great talk track to it. Like, I'm a specialist. I just do financial planning. I
Mm-hmm.
go through, you tell me how much you have. I use a rule of 4%. I put it into a calculator, and you can take out this much the rest of your life. Okay, great. Well, will you actually help me buy stocks and sell stocks and buy mutual funds and ETFs? No, I don't do that. I just focus on financial planning.
Mm-hmm.
So then they partner with somebody else, or they work under some other umbrella, or they just tell you to go somewhere. And so you pay for a financial plan, but then you have to separately go pay someone to do your money management. And then you have to pay someone separately to do your tax returns, and someone separately to do your estate plan, and someone separately to do your insurances. And that's the typical space because, well, there's several reasons, in my opinion, why I think why people do it is because it's complicated, right?
Okay.
From a licensing and regulatory standpoint. So I am a CFP. I have a Series 65 and a life insurance license. So the amount of continuing education I have to do on a regular basis is ridiculous, and it's
Annually,
increasing
yeah.
constantly.
Yeah.
They just added new layers this 2 years ago that I have to do more every year, and that's a good thing because I'm controlling someone else's finances. So the regulation is good. I'm not typically a big regulation person, but when it comes to handling someone else's money,
Yeah.
you should be heavily regulated and highly watched.
Yeah.
So, but it's a compliance nightmare to do all these things for people. And so it's just easier to be an insurance salesman, or just easier to be a money manager, or just to sell financial plans.
Okay.
Another one is time. Like if you're going to work on a client and you just do their financial plan,
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty easy. You update it like once a year. It takes you 30 minutes a year
And
to
you just do their
update
financial
it.
plan. Does that mean like stock investments, basically?
No, it's more like, here's a spreadsheet that shows how you get income the rest of your life.
Oh, okay.
And so it's much more on the theoretical side.
Okay.
And then the investment management or the wealth management side is where you're actually doing that. And that typically gets outsourced.
Okay.
So it takes a lot of time to do all these different things. Well, the
Yeah.
vision we've had for a long time is that rather than running all over Grand Rapids and Holland and Muskegon or wherever you have to go to get all your stuff taken care of, what if you could sit at one desk, one conference table, you drink your cup of coffee or two, and while you're there, all the professionals came to the table to you.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, hey, just so you know, while you're here, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, and knock out all these things in one meeting.
Mm-hmm.
That's much more preferred than this idea of, well, I don't do both. I'm a specialist. I don't go to a mechanic and he says, well, I only do rear brakes. Can you do front brakes? It's a different type of brake, and that's just not the brakes I work on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's ridiculous. I have to go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, can you change my oil? I could change your oil, but if I do your oil, then I can't also be, aligning your, rotating your tires, because that's a different skill set. I don't believe in that. I think that it's very possible to take care of someone from soup to nuts, from start to finish, like to take care of the whole picture.
Okay.
But what that does so if you're talking the business side for the advisor, for the client, it's better.
Mm-hmm.
For the advisor, it's more complicated and more time consuming,
mm-hmm.
right? It is profitable because obviously you're replacing all these other professionals, but it ends up being a thing where I can't take on 150 clients a year, because each client I'm taking on, we're working the whole thing. So we can only take on 10, 15, 20 new clients a year at the most, because in that process, we are doing everything. If I was just strictly selling annuities, I could take on 80 clients a year, 100 clients a year. No big deal. Do an appointment, sign the app, and we're good. If I was selling homeowners insurance, if I was doing just those things, or just taking stock portfolios, it'd be way easier.
Yeah.
But from a truly fiduciary standpoint, I don't know how I can give advice on your insurances without also giving you advice on your investments, without also understanding how you get income, without also understanding the tax ramifications, and then also building an estate plan. So I think they're heavily integrated. And just like that mechanic, right? You would want to have that across the board. I had a client who, she came in, she was an attorney for a long time, and her husband was a doctor. Now he's since passed, but when he owned a medical practice, she owned a law firm. They had always had, really specialist tax people, really specialist attorneys, and all these things, and everything was really segmented. And then they retired. And when she came in, she goes, I don't think it needs to be segmented anymore. I'm like, it really doesn't. And as we walked through it with her, it was just so much more relaxing to be able to say, all right, Mike, take care of it. And so now when she sits down, we go through and we have our cups of coffee. As she sits there, we just go through and say, here's what we did for your investments for the year, and here's how they worked, and here's we're changing this, that. Here's where your insurance sits. Here's where your income will be for the next year. Here's what your required minimum distributions are, your taxes, your estate plan. It's all mapped out in one pain-free meeting. And we also know the consequences of how one affects the other. Mm-hmm. So retirement isn't meant to be spent chasing down professionals, paying hourly rates, and connecting the dots yourself. You're now in the phase that's all about you. And our clients know that their financial mechanic is working on the whole car, not just the brakes. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things we really take pride in. For anyone who is realizing or knows that these things actually do relate to each other, but yet you've got all these different people doing all these different things, and you want to have a conversation with someone who can give you that holistic approach, give us a call, 616-512-2127, and we will help you start to understand and see the value of working with that whole picture in one stop.
Bringing together the various elements involved in your retirement plan into one place is the goal. If you have questions, or if you have many people that you're working with and you are looking to simplify, of course, we all want to simplify getting to our retirement years. Now is the time. Mike and his team are here to help. Again, that number you're dialing, 616-512-2127. If you're 59 and older and have saved $500,000 or more, want to offer you your own holistic review, complimentary. Again, the number to dial, 616-512-2127 for that complimentary review of your retirement savings and investments.